How's it going? How are you all doing? We're getting set up. We're pretty close to getting set up. Mike, what's World of Warcraft? What's this World of Warcraft I'm hearing so much about?
It's a world, but with war and also
Ooh.
crafting, but that part's not nearly as important.
Ooh. The thing they were always crafting was war, right? That was
Well,
right.
yeah, I
That's
guess
what it was.
there used to be a lot more of the craft. Let me lower my camera. There used to be a lot more of the crafting. Yeah, they announced. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about that expansion here, guys, for you YouTube people. Since I can't even find a way to work this into Nintendo this time, so we won't make it part of the Nintendo show. But yes, they are.
Other way. You got to point the camera up.
Yeah.
There
Sorry.
you go.
And then, but yes, so they announced Dragonflight today, which we all thought it was going to be dragon themed, and here it is. Big things here are that they're kind of trying to just return to a more chill high fantasy vibe. I think just like dragons, and that's fine. There's a new race, the Drakthir, which are dragon people, and a new class, which are evokers, it's basically just like a class only for that race. So the dragon people can only be evokers, and evokers can only be dragon people, which is pretty interesting there. Yeah, it's like they're doing a bunch of some like reworks to things like the talents. It's going to be talent trees again. They're readjusting the UI. Well, it seems like a lot of things they announced. The nice thing is that it's like all stuff that'll actually matter for the whole game, and not just this one expansion, which seems to be something that they are conscious of. We'll see. There is absolutely no release frame for this. So it's definitely not coming out this year, because they also announced Wrath of Lich King Classic, and they said that's coming this year. It's probably going to be like a year wait for this. It's going to be a long time. They're probably going to be putting a lot of. They probably don't want this one to miss. For the first time ever, they had 2 expansions in a row that people didn't like. They can't really afford a third one. So that's that. Oh yeah, this is my Big D shirt. This is my brother and friend's fictional moving company called Big D's, and their slogan is "We'll make it fit." So do with that information what you will.
I mean, I feel like it'd be a very successful company if they were to do that.
Yeah, there's also Big D's landscaping, and their slogan is "Oh, it'll grow."
Yes, Pablo. I cut my hair a few weeks back. No one noticed then for some reason, but yes. I feel like since then I've taken like a couple of showers in the last few weeks, and it's starting to like bounce up, and that's making it look more like a haircut.
I didn't turn my camera on. Let me turn my camera on. In fact, I have to go to the bathroom real quick before we get started here, and then we can do this. Are they going to do Cataclysm Classic Man 1-up? I don't know. They may as well, almost, I guess. Does anyone care? I kind of want them to at least get to Panda Classic. I like to play Panda.
So, who else is like just so frustrated that Mike can't get the camera right? Am I right? He's always so late to the podcast. Didn't even know what was happening today. I don't know if he can hear me. He'd be yelling right now if he could hear me. Thank you, Major Blazer, for noticing the hair. It's honestly, I cut it myself in the bathroom in like 5 minutes, so it's not that big a deal. If people don't, honestly, it's better if people don't notice, because that means I didn't completely butcher it. That's what that means. That's the good sign. Let's see, let's fix the brightness a little bit on here. My face is like a ghost if I go that high. Let's go back down. Maybe we can. There we go. Now we have some definition. Oh. I'm giving my Big D's to Jeff's mom right now. No, he found us. Nate the Hate found us. Damn it. I was trying to get in and get out with the tweet, but he came after us all in the end. How's it going, Nate? We're about to get started, everybody.
I'm back.
Mike, this Nate the Hate fella in chat saying very mean things about my mother, and I can't figure out why.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, Mike, you gotta point your camera higher. You gotta put your camera higher.
I've been trying. Look, it's hard for me because I'm looking at YouTube and not Discord, so I'm not getting.
Problem is, I did that panel. Okay, I can fix it now. I did that panel recording this morning, and what's his name that runs those panels? It's like he was very particular. I'm like, I should be more particular.
No,
I should be a better
he is.
person.
I know. I always have to move my camera to my monitor, which is why I have to adjust it every time we do this now because I've been moving it around constantly.
I'm gonna go with
I got
fixing my face. Oh no, nothing's gonna fix my face. Never mind.
No. Let's talk about Nintendo.
Okay. Nate's giving it a hot wiener.
Jeff, what'd you think of my Final Fantasy 14 PvP skills?
Yeah, those were things that you were doing on the stream, and
That's
I knew
right.
I could tell what was happening just by looking at it. There's a lot of buttons in that game, Mike, on the screen.
Oh man, Jeff, that mode has like a third of the buttons. The other modes.
That's impossible because a third of the screen was covered in buttons.
You'll see. Did you somebody there's a picture of the UI for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Actually, people were kind of joking about it because it is just it's covered in stuff. I tell you what.
Well, that's very exciting for people, for the button community out there, for the on-screen hotkey button.
Yeah, wait till the Ubisoft people see that screenshots. Yeah. And, we can just imagine how mad they're going to be when that sells better than Ghost Recon.
All right, I think we should check this audio. Let's see here.
Hey, you guys hear me?
I can hear that.
All right, they can hear that too. All right, so I'm going to count down and we'll get into this. You good?
Yes, I am ready to say my words.
All right, let me get over on the record button. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs. Today, Xenoblade Chronicles has been the opposite of delayed. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has been relayed? I don't know, it's coming out earlier than we thought. Yes, Streets of Rage is going to be a movie, and also Game Boy emulators, question mark. Jeff, how are you doing? I think me and you are both a little sleepy, which is why I'm really pretending to have a lot of energy now.
If we just pretend, it'll happen, right? That's my motto through life. If I just pretend long enough, everything will eventually feel real in my heart and in my body and soul. I've been up. I got up early this morning to do some stuff for work, and then because we're trying to align people all across the globe, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take the hit. They could do it in reasonable time for them, and I'll do it at an abnormal time for me. But that was good. Then I was up and ready to go to write a story because Xenoblade Chronicles got delayed. I was like right there to do.
That made me happy.
Unlaid.
You were there for that.
What is it? What is the word? Like, which just moved up is what we say because we don't need a word.
Yeah, the relay does not mean that.
No.
Yeah, it's just been pushed up, is all we say, huh? Which I feel like we should have one word for this concept.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, it happens.
English fails us again.
Just frequently enough. You know, the thing with English, you just make up words, so we can coin it right now.
Well, that's the thing with any language, actually. Yeah.
No, just English. I'm pretty sure it's just English.
It's been fucklayed. This is my sense of humor now after 3 hours of sleep. Apparently, I just said sex is all I said.
Sex. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has been sexed. All right, I'll go change the headline right now.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was already sexed.
Yeah, that's true. God, yeah. We had a community Splatoon game night the other night, everybody, and there was that joke about T versus A, tits versus ass on hard drive, and then the Discord saw that. They're like, well, that's what we're doing. Only we're going to make it Mithra and Pyra versus Cammy from Street Fighter. I'm like, of course you are. Of course you are, Turbo Sean. Of course you are.
That's who represents these things, which I guess I can't argue with. Anyways, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is now coming out on July 29th. This is a good deal earlier than expected. Jeff, this is pretty interesting. We've seen Nintendo sometimes have games made and ready to go. Usually those are often like Wii U ports or something. This is a relatively big game. Now, if it's been this far along for a while, it explains why we had been hearing about it for so long until before they revealed it. So the question here is, why are they moving it up then?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they probably are looking around at their schedule and being like, you know what, this thing has been done. Maybe it makes more sense. We were expecting to have, Splatoon in the summer. We were expecting to have Advance Wars out by now. We were expecting to maybe have Bayonetta at a certain time, and who knows what's happening with those 3 games. This seems to be a sure thing, so they're like, okay, let's move it up. I mean, this is we're all guessing, right? But it seems to make sense. We haven't heard one way or the other on all of those games, especially Splatoon and Bayonetta. We haven't heard much about either of those for a long time now. So it's like, okay, then they're probably moving those out of the way, moving them later in the year, and they can move this up, keep their sort of momentum going that they've already have. And like you said, we've been hearing about this for forever. I mean, God, when did Imran post his story on Fanbyte? Was that like late last year?
Yeah.
So
I think even before that, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of us thought that we might see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at Game Awards. At least
That's
I did,
right.
and wasn't there.
That's right. So yeah, it was like, in like the early fall, maybe. It was a long time. And this definitely seems like one of those games that they have been positioning and they're ready to go. And I think a lot of this just comes down to like, why do they hold on these games? Yes, they like to have stuff in their back pocket to fill in gaps in their schedule. I think a lot of it is just like, hey, they only have so much marketing like resources, and they like to like figure out how to use those resources instead of growing bigger and bigger to accommodate all of their games. They're like, let's focus on this game right now, and then we'll focus on that game then. And I think what happened is one of these games must have moved. Those resources opened up, and now this game's like, okay, let's get Xenoblade in there, and then we'll figure out everything else after that.
It is that game that you think moves Splatoon 3. I don't know why, but that's just the vibe I'm getting. That's like what I'm kind of bracing myself for.
Did they say summer? Like when they announced this game last year, it did feel like summer 2022 was what I said.
I should look that up because I meant to, because I thought, for some reason, I always believed it was summer, but maybe they never actually said anything.
Maybe they just said 2022. But I mean, either way, it's definitely one of those games where it's like you would have expected to hear about it by now.
So they said mid 2022, I think, right?
Well, and I don't know. It's like Redfall. If you were putting out one of these games that is supposed to be mid 2022 by now, that trailer. I mean, for example, like it's not exactly the same. It's not the same at all. But like Thor: Love and Thunder is coming out in June, and we just got the teaser trailer for that like yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's like the closest you can get with like a movie. Games, you could probably go a little bit closer, but I mean, if we don't hear about Splatoon 3 here very soon, it's clear that they're just going to move it. They're just going to shuffle it a little bit further back in the deck, and that's fine.
Are you a little surprised that it's not just the Wind Waker Twilight Princess thing that kind of gets slotted in here? Do you think that is specifically going into Breath of the Wild 2's full time slot?
I think that's later in the year. I think that's like fall time. I think they announced that at their, whatever their summer Nintendo Direct is, and then maybe that goes into September now. But I was kind of always expecting that in October, maybe even December, like maybe even like real late in the year.
I don't mean to text during the show, but my niece just texted me a bunch of hearts, and I think that is very cute. So I'm going to send a bunch of heart on fire.
You should send her the emoji of you making the heart thing with your hands that we have in our Discord. Don't let her into our Discord, though.
I hope she's not watching this show since I already said fuck late earlier, but yes.
Yep. That'd be bad.
Anywho, so it's weird. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is happening sooner than we thought. Jeff, you excited for the game?
Yeah! Woo!
No,
I'm not. I have very little interest. Although I was one of our community members is like one of the biggest Splatoon fans I know, and I was worried about him. But he's like, this is the one game that could come out that would be like I'd be okay with Splatoon 3 getting delayed because I could play Xenoblade. I'm like, all right, fine. You got to get your Pyra and Mithra. Is Pyra and Mithra in this one? Are there boob swords?
No, there's new characters, and the proportions have been the proportions and the kind of big eye anime aesthetic has been toned back.
Okay, well then,
more
as a games journalist, as long as the boobs aren't above a C, then I'm very excited.
Wow. Anywho, next here. So supposedly, Jeff, official Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance emulators have been found on Nintendo Switch. This is according to a leak on the most reputable of sites, 4chan. Jeff, I'm hoping that you know something about this because I've seen some people questioning this. I don't know what to believe. What do you think is happening here?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll say that the thing that I always heard was that NERD, that or nerd or whatever it is. What is it? The Nintendo European Research and Development or something like that. I heard that they were always the ones working on this stuff, but that that was out there. So it's like they could have just incorporated this into this possible hoax, but I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of smoke here. We knew Game Boy was coming. The thing we didn't know was Game Boy Advance. That's the thing that continues to set off red flags for me. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, look, like, obviously these three are going to come because this isn't very hard to emulate, right?
No.
They're slam dunks for the service, and we know that selling more of these services is a very important thing, and getting more games out there is important. Especially, like, it can't be Nintendo 64 forever with, releasing like one Nintendo 64 game a month and then maybe a few oddball Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES games here or there. They need some more platforms on here. Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance are the easiest ones to do. It seems a little weird. Like, I'm sure they're working on the Game Boy Advance one. I don't think they would release it at the same time as Game Boy, Game Boy Color, because at least in a lot of people's eyes, Game Boy Advance games are kind of just better Game Boy games, right? It's Game Boy, but advanced. So maybe there should be some separation there.
I mean, I think the separation is probably going to end up. I mean, if this is how it goes, the separation would be Game Boy and Game Boy Color in the base tier, and then Game Boy Advance in the expansion
That's
pack.
Interesting. That might be right, huh? That could make some sense.
I think that Nintendo looks at Game Boy Advance in a very similar way to how it looks at N64, where it's like these are games that we could still maybe sell for a certain level today. And if we're going to do that, we are going to price them in the premium tier and stuff like that. Also, there's a lot of third parties who'll be like, yeah, our games, we've seen Game Boy Advance games sell on the Switch. I mean, look how good Castlevania Advance Collection did and stuff like that. So why wouldn't we just go package these things up ourselves? Like, if you're going to do this, you got to give us a pretty good deal. And to justify that, Nintendo might need that extra money from the expansion pack to really make that make sense. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably just a little bit of they're just going to find ways to package this up and release both of these things. And yeah, and when I say both, I mean Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, because Game Boy and Game Boy Color, same thing. So
I actually did realize that they are probably going to release the Game Boy, Game Boy Color games on like the same app on the Switch.
Well, I mean, they literally would run on the same emulator, so it's like makes sense because it's the same thing.
Let's not even. Moving on, Shin Megami. I want to say this right so that Christian doesn't get mad at me.
It's like Sensei, right?
Sensei. I said it wrong. Damn it. Shin Megami Tensei 5 has sold more than 1 million units worldwide. Jeff, I think the previous best-selling SMT game was Shin Megami Tensei 4 for the 3DS, which did like 600,000. Now, so not counting the Persona games, this is definitely the best-selling game in that series. Pretty good number for, JRPGs are themselves niche. This is a pretty hardcore JRPG, and it's definitely gotten a Switch boost. The SMT franchise itself has done well, and there is also just a lot of people who play Persona who become interested in these games because there are a lot of similarities, even though it has less heart, right? Yeah, so I think they have to be happy here. If only there's something they could learn from this. Like, maybe they should release some more Shin Megami Tensei. I have to say Sensei every time now. Tensei games on this platform, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is like, these games continue to grow. This probably is a pretty good sales number for the budget of these games. I mean, that seems very well, like a very good number and stuff like that. And these games, like, because Nintendo sort of sets the precedence, I think their price remains pretty high over time, so that they don't rush to discount and stuff like that. So $1 million at a relatively high price is really good. And the next one will probably do better. And I think that's how they're looking at it. Like, we can expect growth in the future. Like, this is a genre that's growing. It's a brand that's growing on a platform that continues to grow, whether it's, through selling more Switches or some future Switch. So yeah, we're going to get more of these. I mean, the obvious question is, when are they going to wake up and put Persona on here?
Right. Like, why isn't Persona 3, 4, and 5 on there? And then, like, the new SMT game they announced, I forget which one now. It's like the sequel to the Saturn one. I can't remember the name, but like, that's not coming to Switch. I don't know. The whole series is just so scattershot. It feels like sometimes, and in a way that feels very out of step with where the rest of gaming is right now, where it's like everyone's putting everything everywhere. Like, all these Japanese games are available on Steam. And this is like, oh, we're going to put this game here and this game there. And it's just so weird. That meme of a blind guy throwing a dart at a board, and it's got that pie chart with like 1% is Xbox, and then and like that's what it feels like still. So yeah. Okay, yeah. So thank you guys. It's Soul Hackers 2 is the game that's coming. Is the SMT games coming out to everything but Switch? It's like I mean, it's coming out to PlayStation 4 and stuff also. So it's like you think they could get that working?
Right.
Also,
And
it's an
is it a
SMT game,
technical
so
thing even, or is it some other weird thing?
can't be like the SMT games reuse assets like crazy. Like I'm sure this game's reusing a lot of like all the character models for at least the demons from SMT5. So I have no idea. No idea, but there will be another SMT game on Switch for sure, and there should be many more of them. There should be more Persona games on there as well. Next, Streets of Rage is getting a movie. Apparently, I don't know you, Jeff, but I play a lot of Streets of Rage on my Switch. A ton of Streets of Rage 4, a ton of Streets of Rage 2. This is going to be coming from Sonic's the DJ2 Entertainment company, which is the producers of the Sonic movies. And the screenplay is going to be written by the John Wick guy, Derek Kolstad. Now, Jeff, you're the only person in the world that doesn't like John Wick, so how do you feel about this?
It's weird because it's like, okay, what is that guy known for? It's creating all this weird lore and not really focusing on
the rich lore of
lore.
Streets of Rage.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so he's probably gonna bring that stuff to Streets of Rage, and that could be kind of cool. And the characters of Streets of Rage kind of can just be like these cartoon characters, which I think that's kind of what he does too. It sounds like it could probably work if the action is fun. All that really matters though is the soundtrack. If they don't get Yuzo Koshiro, which they did not announce as part of this, that is, I mean, that is a major failing. I don't know if they will, and that would be absurd. You cannot have that movie without that music.
It'll probably be like the Sonic, like it'll have an original soundtrack that has like little hints and teases from the games, but I don't think it's gonna be.
I don't think that's good enough.
It's not good enough. Yeah, I just hope it better take place in the 90s. I don't know why, but to me that's so important. Yeah, like I want Genesis DNA all over this thing, like aesthetically.
Yeah, I think it probably should be like
lots
it
of
should
neon.
Feel a lot like The Warriors, like that movie, except for in the 90s, right? It should be like a 90s version of The Warriors.
Yes, with a lot more neon.
Yes. I think you're right. Like right before the internet like went big, like just set it right then and then stylize it. Yes, a lot of neon and a lot of rollerblades and stuff like that, and you're good to go.
Is the kangaroo going to show up in the post-credit scene?
Absolutely. That is their secret. That is their tales. The tales of that series is the kangaroo.
Oh my god! I wonder if this is actually going to happen. I get so skeptical of these things now, but I mean, Sonic was this big hit, I guess, and I'm sure they don't think this is going to be a Sonic-sized success. But I mean, they had that fancy Sega Productions like logo that they showed at the beginning of the Sonic movies, right? So I guess you got to get more of those franchises in there. You got to use that. How close are we to the Echo the Dolphin movie is what I want to know.
I wonder if how deep they'll go. Streets of Rage has like human characters, which probably I feel like they're like, okay, after Sonic, like we could maybe do some other stuff, but we like our human characters, so we'll do Streets of Rage. Echo the Dolphin, like
that's a CG movie.
Yeah, it would have to just be CG, all CG movie, right? You wouldn't even try to make it like a hybrid with like human characters, right? So
I don't know. I tell you what, you're really missing the point. Then it would not. And when I say CG, I don't even mean like Pixar. It would have to look like that Disney remake of The Lion King, like something like that, something disgusting like that would actually be appropriate.
Yeah, I think we're very close though, Mike. Any minute now, they're going to announce that.
Did you watch Speaking of movies based off of beat 'em ups, did you watch Double Dragon without me?
I mean, I watched a good third of it. Listen, I put it out. I tweeted it and I put it in the Discord and I put it. I went
not even a text. All I do is tell Jeff how much I like that movie. Not even a text. Like, hey, we're me and all the community of that thing that you do all the work for, and I ride your coattails on. We're all gonna watch a movie that you love without you.
You were invited, like in the.
I was invited, like all of your other 80,000 followers on Twitter are.
Because I just did the Amazon watch party, not a Twitch watch party, so it was just a chat room, and I put it so like I wasn't like at my computer watching it, so I brought my phone up and I was continuing to watch it in bed, and I fell asleep, and I think at one point like my finger like grazed the little Scrabble thing, and I went all the way to the end, and I had to like go back and find where we were as I was falling asleep, and then I just kind of put it on next to my head as I passed out.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's you guys, everyone could have gone to bed with me watching Double Dragon. we need to watch that movie for real. It is on Prime Video.
I
So.
like that movie. I mean, it's like, I don't know what's wrong with that movie aside from the things that should be wrong with a Double Dragon movie. Like, it's campy and stupid.
Yeah.
It's a Double Dragon movie.
Yeah, Robert Patrick's last name. It's just like chewing up scenery in a way he doesn't really get to do in a lot of movies. So yeah,
There's
I don't know.
elaborate sets with like that, it's all kind of like monster. Like what's that punk thing called when there's a lot of like monster people running around? I don't even know what to call it. Ogre punk. It's like ogre punk.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh gosh. It is something. It's an experience. There's like an elaborate action set piece that takes place on like a river with like a motorboat or something.
Yeah, we'll do that again and we'll watch it for real. So I'll make sure to text you this time.
Yeah, you better. All right, Jeff. So there's a rumor from Bandai Namco that appeared because of a job listing that they are looking for help remastering a 3D action game for Nintendo. We don't really have any idea what this could be unless you know something or you have any good guesses. I'm not even super sure if it means that they're remastering one of their
Adventures.
games.
They're going to make it fun this time.
Yeah, how so? They're going to make a new game.
God, who knows? I mean, I don't know if any man can make that game fun. Okay. Which system do you think it's coming right? It's probably GameCube, right? Like, can you think of any Wii game? Like, unless it's Captain Rainbow.
Maybe it's like Sin and Punishment.
Right, that's actually one of the games I was thinking too.
And so I know some people are hopeful that it's actually 3DS's Kid Icarus Uprising, right? Be kind of neat to just get that on Switch.
That would be another good one. Yes. I honestly, that Kid Icarus Uprising, I think that's actually a pretty decent chance of being the one.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's just a lot of action games for GameCube that probably could come forward.
It's Bandai Namco, so they've worked with Sakurai before on Smash Brothers,
Right.
so that would be my guess, and it's probably what I would want the most, anyways. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see a bit here. Mario Golf is now out on Nintendo Switch Online. We know it's coming. Have you hit the links at all, Jeff?
No, I've not had time. No, although I do intend to at some point. I got the Switch right over here. I should just turn it on right after the show. But yeah. How about you, guys? Because I think you didn't have any intention to do this.
No, I'm not super interested. Like, at some point, I guess I should just, it's a golf game. It's not a huge time investment. I should go and play around, I suppose. But I've been pretty busy with 13 Sentinels right now, so I haven't really felt motivated. El Shaddai, remember that game? That's coming to Nintendo Switch. We don't know when, but more details are coming on April 28th. Man, this is a game I always saw and thought looked neat, but I never actually played it. How about you?
No, I actually meant to. I think I got it recently. The one thing I associate with the game is Shane Bettenhausen. It's
yes,
first
me also.
He went to go work on after he left One Up. So when he went to like that one company before he went to Sony. So I'm like, Shane Bettenhausen's El Shaddai.
I remember being at a PAX East, I think, and I saw him like demoing the game, and I was like, so new, I was too shy to even say hi. Right. I was like, that guy's famous.
That's the guy from NeoGAF.
That's the guy who likes Sony more than the other people on that podcast.
That's the guy who got really weird defending the original Metal Gear Solid 3 before Subsistence.
Yeah, he was the guy who was stuck defending the PlayStation 3 at a time when everybody wanted to dump on the PlayStation 3. Which
you remember when
fair.
every year was the year of the PlayStation 3? Do you remember that period where it's like, it's the year of the PlayStation 3? And he wasn't like the only one saying that, but that would happen every year for like 4 years in a row until eventually it was like true. But it took a long time.
Yeah, like the year maybe when like Uncharted 2 came out. Yeah, true. I don't know, but that was a while. Didn't happen right away. Last thing here, Jeff. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is going to be the next Nintendo Switch Online free game trial. That's going to start on April 20th and last until April 26th. I always hear amazing things about this game. People love this game, and I have not played it yet. It was even on Game Pass for a while, and I don't think I played it on there. So I should try. I don't know if this like runs significantly worse on Switch or anything like that. So I have to check that out. But still, I'd be interested in trying it.
Yeah, it is a series I've always meant to try. I think I have the original game for Switch and never really played it. It seems like the kind of game that like you could play at any time and sort of just get lost into it, and like it's got like a good concept of Minecraft, but for old people who need guidance and need to like be told how to have fun. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm one of them. So yeah,
you sure are, Jeff. All right, well, that's it for the news. Let's get into these questions. We'll also read some super chats after that. I see we have a few of those in. If you guys want to send in a super chat, please do. We will read it after the show. And by the way, you can also send a super chat for our topics next week, which I didn't bring up earlier, but we are asking people what is the one NES game they want to see on Nintendo Switch Online the most that is not there yet. So feel free to answer that in the super chat as well. You can also now join our YouTube group here with that join button. And next to that subscribe button that I'm sure that you have already hit. If you join us, you will get access to those same secret Discord channels as everyone else, where you can send questions in for this and Games Beat the Sides. And you can also join our fun activities like Jeff's Q&As and our Jeopardy game night. I think we're doing a new one of those on Friday, right? I think you're bringing in a ringer to try to take me down. We'll see.
Yes, I talked to him. He sounds like he's just said he should be able to, depending on his schedule. But if he can't, I got someone else in mind. So we'll make something happen.
All right. First question is from Christian. Christian never sends in questions. Christian says, I have a question. Is Jeff going to find this thread? Oh, that's funny because it's on Discord and Jeff is stupid.
I'm sorry. I never used threads before that moment. Threads are bad on Slack. They're actually pretty good on Discord, I'm discovering.
Yeah. If threads are threads bad on Slack? There's just threads. You just click. Oh gosh.
I hate them. I'm sorry. Yeah,
if they were on Twitter, I'm sure you would have mastered them eons ago. Bench JC says, Mike, Jeff has settled in his new home and wanted a weekend off with his wife. He decides to leave the kids in your care for around 3 days. What madness do you brainwash them with? Only brainwashing to torment Jeff. I guess just really big Let's Plays of Kingdom Hearts would be my go-to.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, and then like the Sonic Saturday AM show, just like really get him in love with Sonic, because Jeff seems to also feel uncomfortable and anxious around that IP property. So that would
involve my children. Yes.
Oh my God, Turbo Sean is right. Oh, this is so hilarious. I'm reading questions for Games Beat the Sides and not for Last of the Nintendogs. Wow.
See? It's not so easy, is it,
Mike? There's 2 threads. I just looked for the one that said questions.
That's almost twice as many. Oh, you're right. That's so difficult. 200% increase. 100% increase. I can do math.
God damn it. I was wondering why none of these questions seem to be Nintendo related. All right, look, we got questions now for Nintendogs. Wow, these threads are difficult. What idiots decide these?
God.
Jesus Christ. Everyone's screaming at me.
Yep.
In the chat.
Man, that was a real fuck-laid situation right there.
Hey, TurboSauce has a question for us. He says, hey, dogs, since Breath of the Wild 2 is coming so late in the Switch's life, we can expect another 5+ years for the next mainline Zelda after that. Isn't Nintendo hindering the Switch 2's success holding a Zelda so late into the Switch 2? I mean, this game could also come out for the Switch 2, even if it's not a launch game, right, or even if it's not like day and day launch, it could still be a Switch 2 launch game. And there can it seems weird to imagine Nintendo do this. Maybe there can be an upgrade path.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have to actually figure that out this time around, right?
I would imagine they are building that into this game, because this is a game that is going to come out and have to run on the original Switch, and they have always been experimenting with the possibility of a Switch Pro. So they probably built in those upgrade paths into this game, and they could probably make that happen if a Switch 2 comes along instead.
It is interesting to think about, like, presumably there would be, again, another Zelda game on Switch 2, like, later in its life cycle, I suppose. And again, it's probably going to be the same thing where it's going to be like grinding close to the Switch 3 at that point, right? Like the at some point the Zelda franchise was always like a middle of life release for these consoles, and then somehow it got delayed ever so slightly to the point now where it's always bumping up really close to either the end of a console or the beginning of one, and it's slightly awkward. Turbo Madden says, I've been playing Banjo-Kazooie for the first time on Nintendo Switch Online, and I'm absolutely loving it, from the tight controls to the terrific music and dialogue. Since Banjo-Kazooie is the only Rareware-developed title on the Nintendo 64 Nintendo Switch Online service, what rare games do you expect to be announced next to come to the service besides potentially GoldenEye? I think Donkey Kong 64 is pretty imminent.
I hate this because I'm like, didn't they already announce Diddy Kong Racing? But I could have just made that up in my head.
I think they did actually announce Diddy Kong Racing. That is actually one of them.
So there's your next one.
Right.
After that, Donkey Kong 64, I think you're probably right.
Banjo-Kazooie
GoldenEye, if Microsoft figures that out and stuff, obviously that seems to be what's happening. But exactly how that comes across to Switch, we'll have to see.
And then at that point, what are we? So Congress Bad Fur Day is maybe a little iffy.
Right.
But, Jet Force Gemini will happen. Blast Core will happen eventually. Then Perfect Dark is a little bit more difficult once again, but maybe they'll make that happen. Is that all of them?
Maybe they didn't announce Diddy Kong Racing, because there's like 2 more games
Did
left.
they not announce Diddy Kong Racing?
And I don't think either one's Diddy Kong Racing.
Well, me and Jeff both got Mandela affected on that one.
Yeah, maybe.
We both thought that they announced Diddy Kong Racing.
It definitely did not announce Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah, I'm like, I think I just made it up. I made it up in my head.
That one's gonna come too.
I think
that'll be exciting.
I think that'll probably be the next one, honestly.
Okay. Vegetable Juicer Incoming says, afternoon, beef and cheddar boys. First off, I want to thank everyone who showed up for the second Splatoon night last week. I think one of these nights we may have to actually have a Jeff versus Mike Splatfest and have each of our fearless leaders pick teams to defend their honor. That's the idea for it. We had a Mike versus Jeff Splatfest. I won handily, from what I recall. His question. Destroyed you. I was taken aback when I, a staunch Xenoblade 2 apologist that fully recognizes the game flaws, was under attack on Twitter from other fans of the game for suggesting that some of the lewd character designs probably didn't have a negative effect on what's currently the best-selling game in the series. One fan even told me that Pyra and Mithra are some of the tamest designs Nintendo has ever done, actually. What characters could this person be talking about that are more lewd than the characters they literally had to censor to make it into Smash Brothers Challenge Mode? You cannot list exclusively Fire Emblem characters. I mean, even Fire Emblem doesn't have many characters that are more lewd than Pyra and Mithra. There's Camilla and maybe Tharja. And I feel like I'm exposing myself since I know their names so easily. But,
what is that? It's that Onion article. Boyfriend accidentally reveals he knows the name of the actress in the AT&T commercials. Like, she's like, I didn't ask. He just brought it up, and then he pretended like he didn't really know. But I can tell he did. Yeah, got it. I don't know. There's Mr. Butthole, of course, which is just a butthole with legs. And
I mean.
Yeah,
what a ridiculous thing to say that they're some of the taper designs.
Yep.
Compared to what? The children from Pokemon or Princess Peach? I can't show ankle Peach unless I'm playing tennis, and then I guess I'll have to belittle myself.
I mean, Daisy in Super Mario Strikers, of course, which is just all booty.
Clearly, Nintendo was famously upset about that.
Right, and there's the girl with the walk and the hips and the arms. She is suggestive. This is absurd.
Okay. But yeah, to be clear, like Pyra, Mithra, just looking at them from a profile view is enough to make a person blush. Like, you know what? To be clear, I don't really care, whatever, but don't act like it's not what they're doing.
Right. They are maybe less racist than the characters from Punch-Out. Like, maybe that's what he meant.
Well, I mean, yes, I agree. They are not very racist characters.
That's right. And Mario's nipples from Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah,
that's true. That was a thing. Velocity Prime 1 says, Simple and Clean was performed at Coachella this weekend. The scourge of Kingdom Hearts is spreading further and further across the land, enveloping the impressionable and indoctrinating a nation. Soon, all of us will be controlled by the gentle and confusing hand of Nomura's anime/Disney epic. To prepare for this future, what character from Kingdom Hearts will you name your next child/pet/yourself after? I'm calling Zigbar. Oh, yeah. I will, once Penny's dead, then I will get some kind of new pet, and I will name it Roxas. Yeah, Roxas is a good pet name. I like Roxas.
I am changing my name to Xehanort.
Is that the only character you know?
Yes, and?
You're going to get Nort.
Yes, apparently. Mike, I have no idea. That's a name I know. I don't know that character at all, actually.
Yeah, well, he's the bad guy, basically. That's it. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of depth there.
Is the bad guy just not like a bad guy from like a Disney World show?
No,
from a Final Fantasy thing. No, that would be too interesting.
He's original characters.
Okay, well, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, he was voiced by Leonard Nimoy at first, which was really cool. But then Leonard Nimoy died, and then he was just voiced by somebody else, who then also died, and then he was voiced by Christopher Lloyd. So.
We gotta protect Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, good luck. Hosp says, "Hey yo, dogs! Ignoring yesterday's leaks, once Game Boy/Game Boy Color is added to Nintendo Switch Online, will you both accept that this is Nintendo's greatest chance to settle the debate of separate consoles? Either way, they will get all the games into one app, or separate Game Boy Color apps should be definitive." Yeah, this is what I'm afraid of now. People are going to use this against me.
They will just put it in the one. They will.
To be clear, I agree that they will.
Yes.
My position still does not change, though, but they will
Yeah.
absolutely, because, they absolutely will include it into one thing. I'll tell you what, they didn't, though. Boy, would that make my day. I'll be high as a kite if they don't.
Yeah. If they do that, if they do it like in separate apps, that's like so absurd. I'm just like, okay, whatever. They've admitted it.
They admit it.
Yeah. But I mean, they're the ones that kind of always said it was like the same thing, but whatever. We don't have to keep talking about it.
Ezipsis says, "Good day, guys. Long-time listener, first-time subscriber. I thought you were a new name. Welcome, Ezipsis. I've always really enjoyed the Trauma Center games on the DS. It's a shame, but I don't think there will ever be another in the series. And due to the nature of the game being so touchscreen dependent, they can't really be ported. The Wii game Trauma Team was okay, but using Waggle isn't ideal for surgery." That's true. Using Waggle is not ideal for surgery, Jeff. My question is, what game locked behind a control system would you love to be ported to modern systems if somehow the control system could be too, such as Trauma Center, Elite Beat Agents, or even Nintendogs? This is a very good question.
I was going to say, Kid Icarus is the one we were talking about earlier. Like, that's like an obvious one that like a lot of people would be like, oh, this actually turned out it was a very good game and we just missed out on it. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, beyond that, it's it would be stuff like Elite Beat Agents, and then I don't know. There's a few games on Wii I'd probably try to rescue, but nothing major.
I mean, even Mario Galaxy 2 seems to be a little bit suffering from that.
Yes, it is.
Big one for me is Samba de Amigo. I love Samba de Amigo on Dreamcast with like its whole bongo weird sensor setup. It didn't even work nearly as well on the Wii, so I don't think it would work. I don't think it would work if they just put it on Switch and gave you the Joy-Cons. It still wouldn't hit exactly the same.
No.
But I love the game.
The DS Castlevania games, which I don't think will get ported like the advanced games, because I was playing them. There's a lot of touchscreen stuff as well, especially on like those early ones. It's like they went out of their way to use all, like, I think there's like parts where like you blow into the microphone and everything. So there's like a lot of stuff.
The first one was really intense about the stuff. I think they eased off a bit in the other two, but Dawn of Sorrow, like Dawn of Sorrow has you like drawing like the glyphs to like finish off the. Now, if you went in there, you could get rid of that stuff.
Exactly. But you have to go in there.
That's the thing. Work.
And they're not going to do that, I don't think. So, if we're talking about rescuing stuff from behind that stuff, that's definitely a series I would do that with. Ooh, DK Jungle Beat's a good one. Henry Hatsworth's a good one.
Henry Hatsworth, that's a good question. All right. From Macho Maname, dear Nintendogs, I own 2 sets of forks. One is the standard IKEA Terragon set with some weight to it. The other is smaller numbered one with no heft from my student days. Whenever I accidentally grab one of these for dinner, I immediately get annoyed by the flimsiness of it and feel as though I can't enjoy my meal fully. I'm excited to see what this question is going to be, Jeff.
Me too.
Then I have to remind myself that this is nothing to get worked up about and it's easily remedied. What small everyday thing grinds your gears?
Oh, so many things. So many.
That's interesting.
I don't like, I took my daughter to speech today. And the speech therapist, who's the greatest, was just like, "Hey, Emmy, I know you like stuff like Play-Doh. We don't have any Play-Doh. Here's some slime." And they got some Nickelodeon slime out, and it was the stickiest stuff. And Emmy turns to me in her answer cover. She's like, "Help me." I'm like, "Well, I didn't like bring like a wipe to deal with this scenario, so I'll just reach it with my hands." And now my hands are like covered in gunk. And it's like, okay, now that's not an everyday scenario, but like stuff getting stuck to me it drives me crazy. I just like. I kept my cool in this scenario, but if it's like, I got to figure out how to get this out. And the rest of the time, I'm just like rolling my hands together, trying to get this stuff off. And it didn't come off until after the whole thing was over. So, sticky stuff bothers me. Mike, how about you?
I'm usually upset at my own body, the way I'm constantly shedding hair and I have to deal with all these little hair balls all over the place. Yes. Or sometimes just 1 out of 5 times I'll like get really hot in bed and like wake up from it because I'm just like too hairy of a person, I suppose. I'm also tired of cleaning my cutting board just because I'm always using the cutting board. Every time I clean it, and it's got those little cracks in it, which is good for like collecting the meat juices, but all the shit gets stuck in there and it's really hard to clean those cracks. So Yeah. Those are some things that made me look up. What's wrong?
Check chat again. Christian says reading the wrong thread.
Oh, yeah. Remember that's from before.
Okay. Okay.
He's just late.
He's just late. Okay. All right. Yeah. And the Turbo Sean says don't get this joke. Yeah. I don't get the joke. Sorry. Mike, do you get the joke?
No, I think he's just trying to scare us again.
Well, he did. I'm very scared. I'm very frightened.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Reading the wrong thread also an everyday thing that bothers me.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't like big spoons, Mike. I think we've
I don't
talked
like
about
mods
this.
who don't know their place.
The big spoons.
You don't like. You talked about this before. You don't like big spoons. I remember this.
Yes, I like little spoons. I like dainty little spoons, and I always go for the daintiest little spoon I could find whenever I'm using a spoon. I don't like big spoons so much that I use forks for many things you shouldn't use forks for. To the point where it's like if the soup is even slightly solid, I will use a fork for that soup. So, hey, listen, people asked, I'm gonna answer.
Well, you're a freak, and we know that. Major Blazer says, "What's up, dogs? What is usually in the best salad? Salads are made up of many things, so I don't expect anything in depth. An example would be I will probably love a salad if it has spinach, broccoli, turkey, and love." Major Blazer, I don't mean to shock you or all of our listeners, but I am not a big salad person. I know it's hard to look at me, but actually, I despise salad. I can't even be near it sometimes. I find it just absolutely disgusting and weird. I'm not a big fan of it. It's all kind of weird. It's like wet, but somehow like greasy and oily, and it's always, at least by the weird, like nothing's grosser to me than like one of those bowls where someone ate salad of, and now it's just like half of this half-eaten tomato covered in like a pink juice. One of the most disgusting things I can think of. This question upsets me. The only good salad is a dead salad. Jeff,
I'm glad we're normal about these things, Mike. I'm glad that's what I'm glad about.
Jeff, what's in your favorite salad?
I don't know, lettuce and some meat and tomatoes and I'll have some cheese occasionally if it's a special treat.
Waffle Song says, "What's up, Nintendogs? What do you think Nintendo's next hardware gimmick will be? Switch 2 can't just be a more powerful Switch, can it?"
It'll be a phone, but you have to talk into it sideways, like a Nokia. Like
it'll be a Nokia N-Gage.
Yes, it'll be side talking us back.
It's funny because, like, why bother putting gimmicks in it? Like, clearly the gimmicks did not do much for the Switch, aside from, like, the main gimmick of it's a portable, which everybody likes. So, but it's Nintendo. They can't help themselves. They're going to do something stupid and something weird with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be something so off the wall and weird. Like, they'll bring back the vitality sensor or something. Like, there will be, like, the thumbsticks will be able to measure your heartbeat. It'll be something like that. Actually, that probably even can't be that hard to do anymore, right? Like, why do you need a vitality sensor? You could probably put a little heart rate monitor in.
Honestly,
in the actual analog sticks.
If they put a light in that IR camera that's already in the Joy-Con, they can probably shine in there, see your blood, and count your heartbeats or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Winnie says, tie into my answer, but are there any plans from Nintendo or third parties to introduce more games that were Japan only for sale on NSO, similar to the Fire Emblem 1 release? I mean, everyone sure is hoping they do that for Mother 3, right? And if it's not that, like, what the heck else would it be? Now, they kind of did it with those Detective Famicom games or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those were remakes, though, so a little bit more different. Yeah, I wonder how well, like, that Fire Emblem 1 thing did, right? I wonder if they're looking at that and maybe using that as a reason not to do Mother 3.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be silly, but of course that might be what they're doing. They'll probably do a few more. It's probably not going to be like a major effort or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Simpin for Jacked Jane Foster, Bop. Wolf with my dogs. In honor of both my name and the new Thor trailer, what female Nintendo protagonist should be jacked in their next video game appearance? I think Strikers is actually a good chance for some of these to happen, but for me, there's no other answer than jacked Rosalina. Yeah, because I mean, jacked Peach would have the greatest impact, I think, right? Like, that would definitely be the funniest character. Not funniest, but, you know, it would make the biggest statement. It is funny, but, like, if Jack suddenly was beefed up, and, like, a Jane Foster level, right? Like, she shouldn't, like, suddenly, look like a bodybuilder, but, like, just look like, oh, wow, Princess Peach has been working out, and she's like, yeah, she could punch me and it will hurt.
Right, Sarah Connor shoulders, right?
Sarah Connor. Yeah, that'd be good. Beefhammer says, with Breath of the Wild 2 delayed, what are the odds that we get Rusty's Real Deal Baseball 2 announced at E3 and it's the big holiday game for Nintendo?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
100. Yeah.
Jake
forward to
Baldino
that.
says he wants Jacked Samus. And of course, Samus is already
But
jacked,
Samus is
right?
already jacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't see enough of it, I suppose. I guess.
Yeah.
Is the issue. Right. And
yeah, and
we
I suppose
needed
she could look like a bodybuilder, right? Jacked Birdo says name.
Jacked Bird. Oh my God.
Just a muscular snout cloaca thing.
Yeah. I mean, we already had B or Bay or whatever from Sword and Shield. So like and we have there's been more jacked girls in general in Nintendo games lately, and I approve of it. But yeah, a couple of them from ARMS even. We just need we need more of this. This is a good development.
Yes.
Mr. Boer says, "Hey Nintendogs, with Mario Strikers Battle League coming out in a couple of months, we'll have a Mario tennis, golf, and soccer game released on Switch. What are the chances we'll see a new Mario baseball game released before the end of the Switch life cycle?" I mean, we're running out of sports here, and baseball is one of the only other sports that's popular in both Japan and the US.
Yeah.
So it might make some sense. Now, it's not popular in some other key territories like Europe and stuff like that, and that kind of hurts it.
Yeah, but fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good policy there, Jeff.
Yep.
I mean, they've done it before, and they did it on a much less popular console with was it Wii that had sluggers, or was that GameCube? I can't remember. But I mean, at some point, you imagine they're gonna go for it again, and Switch seems like as good a time as any. I wonder who's gonna make it. I don't know if Next Level will. I don't think they made the first Mario Sluggers even, right? It just kind of was aping a little bit of that Strikers art style and naming convention, but it was a different team. Bench JC says, "Hey Game Mess crew, what's the worst food experience you have ever had? Also, what are the chances you all will play Xenoblade 3? I'll play Xenoblade 3. As much kind of craps I talk about Xenoblade 2 and 1, I played and beat both of them. So I'm curious to see if 3 is the one that really clicks with me. We'll see though. And it's always weird with those games. I actually tend to like them fine when I'm playing them. It's only afterwards, and I kind of sit there and think about them, that I come to disdain them a bit. First worst food experience ever. I mean, I used to be really picky. So just anytime something I didn't like would get on my plate, and then there would be they would be touching, things like that were bad. One time my dad was just finally over it. Like the time that, of course, they brought a burger to me and had pickles in it and tried to just make me eat it. So that was traumatic and didn't go very well. As an adult, though, one time I went to Burger King, right before the pandemic. I was just hungry, and I went in there, and everyone it was dead except for one table full of loud teenagers. All the people working there were kind of mean to me, and they got my order wrong, and the food tasted bad. And the very end of Jurassic World was playing on a TV in there for some reason. It was very loud. And then all of a sudden I wasn't paying attention anymore, and a new movie was playing, and Merlin was talking to a robot, and I was just very confused. And then there was a time jump, and Mark Wahlberg was there. And then I realized it was that Transformers movie that I never saw. And the whole thing was just upsetting on so many different levels.
I've never had a bad food experience. Every food experience I've ever had has been good.
Every food experience you ever had has been middling. You have no highs or lows with food. That's your
true.
problem.
That's exactly right.
Tank says, "Sup guys, discarding DuckTales because we can all agree it's unbeatable. What is the best licensed Disney game ever made? Kingdom Hearts is on the table here." I do like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 quite a lot. Just to avoid Jeff's ire, maybe I will instead go with Quackshot on the Genesis, which is fantastic. Kind of an Indiana Jones 2D platformer, but with Donald Duck, with some light Metroidvania elements. It's just a good time. Very good looking game on the system too. Soundtrack could be better though. Soundtrack's not amazing. Then Castle of Illusion games are also great. Jeff, what would you say here?
So I played some Aladdin for the Genesis on my Steam Deck, and listen, I don't know. I hope I never said that game is bad, because it's not bad. But
you did say that.
It's not great. It is just really okay. It is better than many of those other games from that developer, especially at that time. It is definitely the best of those. But it's not also some super duper fun game.
I like it a lot, but whatever. As long as you're not pretending it's garbage anymore.
It's definitely not garbage. Yes, okay, so definitely not that. I don't know. I like the Chip and Dale games.
Those games are very good. Chip and Dale 2 is very good.
Yeah, I didn't play that until the recent thing that came out, that Disney Afternoon Collection, and that was surprisingly good.
Very good. Has an amazing soundtrack. It's good. Me and Jeff. I'm gonna make Jeff play the Goof Troop game for the Super Nintendo once he moves to Cleveland. That's gonna be the first thing we play and make
never touched
content
that
with.
game.
I've just me neither. And it's Capcom. It's basically just a co-op Zelda game. And it just looks really fun. So
all right,
it's not a very long playthrough either. So I think we will both have a very good time with that. I'm sure there's other things I'm missing here. Nick Turbo said Epic Mickey. Epic Mickey was kind of disappointment for me. I think Epic Mickey was too ambitious for its own good, especially for being a Wii game. I actually liked the DS Epic Mickey game the most, which was basically just a Castle of Illusion game. It was short, but it was fun. Anyways, the answer is probably Kingdom Hearts 2. And then from Blackheart Vinyl, does the existence of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet hurt the chances of a big expansion to Legends Arceus? I think so, Jeff. It feels kind of weird. Like, I'm sure it's still selling well, but it sure does seem like Legends Arceus has kind of left everyone's mind space a little earlier than I might have thought. And I wonder if that's just because of Scarlet and Violet's existence in general.
Yeah, probably. I think it's probably going to not get a major DLC. It'll probably get some small stuff because it did very well. And they'll probably be like, oh, I guess we should do something. But yes, they're going to just move on to Scarlet and Nexus, whatever it's called.
They'll probably like that. The Legends team, or whoever's not helping us Scarlet and Violet, they're probably just going to make the next Legends game instead of maybe worrying about a really big expansion. Again, like I wish I could see the data on how well the expansions for Sword and Shield did, because they kind of went all out with that, and I wonder if that paid off or not.
Yeah, I wonder if that data's out there in some way.
Turbo Kodo says Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby or Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. Jeff, is Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby a real game?
Yes,
I would like to play that.
It's the hardest game ever made. I think who brought this to my, was it you, Nate in the chat? I think someone brought this game to my attention. It's a online game. It's a browser game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at this. This looks cute.
Okay.
2008. Oh, like 2007. This is like super browser
famous
era.
Last words. Yeah, Mike, you should stream yourself playing it. You'll probably have to download that backup of like every Flash game ever made. It's probably in there.
Wow.
So you'll probably have to get that to play it, but you should.
Yeah, that's amazing. At first, I thought it was like a console game, like that weird Disney skating game for GameCube that is like running off the Tony Hawk 3 engine, so it's actually great. But no, this is a cheap browser game. Oh man. God Rizla says, "Hey guys, how badly do we think Sonic Frontiers will run on Switch? Given the performance of pretty much every Sonic game except Mania, I am worried for how badly it will run. Also, any news about Sonic Origins at all?" So Sonic Frontiers will probably run pretty poorly on Switch, Jeff.
Yeah, probably.
That is what I think. I think it's going to run.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah,
that's why it's probably going to run pretty bad on any system it's on, but it'll probably run worse on Switch.
Mm-hmm. And I will say nothing about Sonic Origins. One Up versus CPU says, "Hey, Beef and Cheddar Boys, I was a ham, provolone, and pickles boy last night. Did you make any leftover Easter ham sandwiches?" I'm not as much as I love pork products, Jeff, and I love smoked stuff and salty stuff. I'm not a big ham fan. I don't like all those stringy pieces of fat in ham. I find it unsettling.
I think I've said on like one of our shows before, I don't love ham, and I think I've changed my mind a little bit in recent years, but it's not I definitely agree with you that those stringy pieces of fat do often make me like, okay, never mind, I'm done with this sandwich.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'd rather just buy a pork tenderloin, which you can get for very cheap, and throw that in my my smoker, or even just in the oven, and like thinly slice that if I want to. If I really want a deli sandwich, of course I'm just going to go to Arby's anyways. Like, why bother with leftovers? Lausian says, "Hey guys, hope Easter weekend was good to you and that the Easter Bunny left you some Arby's gift cards. With the leak of Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy Advance emulator, what are some of the first Game Boy Advance games on NSO? What are your thoughts on the collector's edition for the Cowabunga collection?" I mean, the Cowabunga collection, the collector's edition looks good, but it's also a lot of stuff, and I'm already kind of getting filled with junk, so probably not going to get that. First Game Boy Advance games on NSO. I mean, they'll probably get a lot of those launch games. So it'll probably be like Mario 2, F-Zero, Mario Kart, and like maybe some later stuff, like maybe Wario Land 4 will be on there right away. Maybe they'll get tennis or something like that. So
they'll get it just left my oh no, a Stuntman, the 3D driving game. Yeah.
It's hard. There's so many possible games there, and a lot of good ones have already been ported to the Switch already. Like
Castlevania
games have, all the Mega Man Zero games have. Even still, there's a lot of stuff that they can get on there.
Is there a Battle Network on there?
Yes, all the Battle Networks were on there.
That's why it was on Game Boy Advance. Maybe you'll get a Battle Network game.
And then DS had the Star. It was the sequel series that I never played. I can't remember what it's called. But
what Kingdom Hearts game was on Game Boy Advance? Any of them?
Chain of Memories was on Game Boy Advance. Actually, they remade that game for PlayStation 2, and that's the version that's always in the collections. I could see the Square Enix being like, yeah, sure, you can put the Game Boy Advance original version of Chain of Memories on there. Whatever, who cares? Right. They will not let them put Final Fantasy VI Advance or Final Fantasy V Advance on there. Absolutely no way will they allow that, which is too bad because those are still probably my favorite versions of those games. Diogo RP says, Woof Woof Nintendogs, what impact will the Xenoblade 3 early July drop have in shuffling around titles for the second half of the year? Is it likely we'll see more of this going forward? I think this is going to be the only game getting announced coming out early that we're going to get.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think it's shuffling around is hard to say because so many things don't have concrete dates anyways. And that's kind of the interesting thing we're going to learn around E3 time, right? Is when is Splatoon coming out? When is Bayonetta happening? What is going on with Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and there's a lot
Prime
of
One remaster,
Metroid Prime 1 remaster, the Fire Emblem thing. There's a Mario Cross Rabbids. There's a lot of Nintendo games that we know about that don't have concrete release dates. So, I do actually imagine somebody in Nintendo right now with placards, right, like in a calendar, and he's trying to figure it all out. Gerbear says, should I be excited about a Streets of Rage movie or terrified about how people might respond to seeing a real-life version of Estelle? My Twitter feed has been most positively moist since Marvel released that tiny bit of buff Natalie Portman footage. Man, that is a good character. Yeah, I tell you what, if you like buff characters, play Street Fighter 4, get the DLC so you can play as Estelle. Yes, I liked her a lot. Turbo Obama says, hello, my big beefy redacted boys. Jeff, I went to Little Caesars last week and they gave me the Batman pizza by mistake.
Oh no.
That's a funny mistake to make. After what you said, I could not eat more than a couple bites. The calzone part was foul and just had to throw it away.
I'm sure that's not true.
Love you guys and rest in peace to my wasted $6. I just like that. That's a weird mistake to make. We accidentally made a Batman pizza.
Probably if it's $6, you got the hot and ready. So it's probably it was in the hot and readies, right?
Yeah.
So they just grabbed that instead and they didn't look at it.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. It's Jeff always says, don't get the hot and ready. So
I'll say that. No, I'll say if you complain about Little Caesars, don't get the hot and readies. I'll still eat a hot and ready when I need one in an emergency. But if you're like Little Caesars is bad, then don't get it hot and ready. That's you were just talking about. You're like, I paid $6 for a pizza and it was like a $6 pizza. What the fuck did you expect?
All right, Jeff, that is it for super chats. Let's get for super chats for community questions. We'll do super chats at the end here.
Yes, we will.
But let's talk about NES games and ones that are not on Nintendo Switch Online that we want to see be on Nintendo Switch Online. Jeff, do you have anything in mind for this?
Not particularly, because it's hard for me to remember what's on Nintendo Switch Online. But there's that Doomsday Project game. What is it? What's it called? Hang on, NES Doomsday. I got it for a birthday after the Super Nintendo came out, and I never played it. Now this will be a reason I'll actually play it, because I remember a bunch of friends came to my birthday party, and Project Doom. That's what it is. Project Doom. A bunch of friends came, and one friend who was not really a friend, but he just I had to invite him because it'd be weird if I didn't. And
sure, yes, I know what you mean.
His family obviously just had this laying around. They knew I liked video games, so we'll just give him this old Nintendo game. I'm like, oh, okay, that no harm, no foul. But I never played it. Now I'm more curious about it today than I ever was then. So yes, NES Project Doom. That's what I want on Nintendo Switch Online.
That's fair. Now that we talked about Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers 2, I think I actually want that.
That
not
even
good, one. Oh, because they don't have the Disney Afternoon Collection on Switch for some reason, which is a damn shame. I'm sure there's probably a licensing fee there that's messing that up, but that is a very good game. I mean, I guess DuckTales 1 would be my absolute number one pick. That game is just fantastic, and it's a game that's a ton of fun to replay over and over again. So any of those Capcom Disney games would be nice to have on there. So I guess I really just want the Disney Afternoon collection, but probably not going to happen.
Cool. Vice Project Doom is on there already. See, this is the problem.
How? Yeah, look at that. There it is. Look at the list right now. That's funny.
Cool.
Somebody said Karnov. Karnov's not on there.
Oh, Karnov. That's a great one. Yes, Karnov is the right answer, actually. So there we go. Man, Karnov. Why isn't Karnov just like having a renaissance? We need it with a Karnov-assance. That's what we need. Bring them back.
How shocked are you that Vice Project Doom is on? I never even heard of that game. That's on there, but Karnov isn't.
Yes, I'm shocked and hurt, Mike. I'm more hurt than anything.
I also want
plugging this in to play it right now.
We have just a base game called Baseball on there. I want Bad News Baseball. I know everybody loves RBI, I think, on NES. Not me. I liked Bad News Baseball. That was the best sports game on the NES. Forget your Tecmo Bowl. Forget whatever bad. Are there any well-liked basketball games on the NES? I know there were basketball games. I don't know if any of them were good.
I think there was a good one, but not the Dr. J game, but like I don't know. There was like a one-on-one game that was pretty okay.
Oh, the Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson or something like that. It was like two people's names. I don't know if it was any good.
I think it was like a Tecmo one because it had the like cut scenes or whatever in it.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. But anyways, I'm gonna stand by. I'll say DuckTales. All right. Infernal Tim says Double Dribble. I think I did have Double Dribble, and now I feel like I can't remember anything about it. But hearing those words like gave me some kind of like happiness, so I guess I must have liked it. Adventure Island's a good answer. Anyways, let's get to our community answers for this. Pablo Coss says, I want the Rocketeer on NSO. I played the game countless times during my childhood, and I want to relive some of that magic. Runner-up would be Marble Madness. Oh, that NES version of Marble Madness really hits in a special way, I have to admit. I like that Rocketeer game on NES. Whenever people think about Rocketeer, they think about the really bad game that came out on Super Nintendo. The NES game is fun. It's a little simple, but it's competent. It's fun. I always said if I were going to speedrun a game, it would be something that's mildly obscure, so I wouldn't have very much competition. So I would probably speedrun the Rocketeer on the NES. Sipping for Jack Jane Foster, Bob says, I'm going to be honest, with Earthbound Beginnings recently added, there's no other NES games I could think of worth adding. Does that show my age? Maybe. Sorry, I'm not 50, and it's a weird, obscure 8-bit games. Wow. Wow.
What, like Vice Project Doom? You go play this right now, like I am.
Oh my God. This is what happens when you start simping for those buff superhero ladies. You get all aggressive and mean to your elders. Jamie H1224, the only correct answer is DuckTales. But since that will never happen, I think it would be interesting if they could make Duck Hunt work with a Joy-Con. Yeah, it's too, so we had House of the Dead get ported or remade, really. And like I've heard mixed things about how well that works, so I don't know. Dr. Turbo says, Fox Xanadu. I have no idea if that game is good or not, but with that name, it's got to be good. Citizen Facane vibes. Fox Xanadu's on there already, isn't it? Is it not?
I don't know. I'd have to look, but Fox Xanadu does have Citizen Kane vibes, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe it's not. That's actually pretty surprising. Fox Xanadu's not on there. Huh. Okay. I learn something new every day. One Up versus CPU says, I know they're not going to put Mega Man games on there, but they should because the Mega Man Legacy Collection on Switch is really bad. The Castlevania and Contra games are already on other collections too, so I'll say Ninja Gaiden 2. That's my favorite of the NES trilogy. Some of the levels feel a bit gimmicky with the environmental hazards, but I think it's a better game than the first one overall. Oh man, he said gimmicky, and now I'm like, they need to put Gimmick on there, which is this really fun 2D platformer that never even came out in the US. It came out in Europe though, so that would be a fantastic one to put on there. They really need to get Gimmick.
They should put what's the Rob the Robot game? Gyromite,
yeah.
And they should just have like a virtual Rob the Robot that you can like have like running on the side of the Switch, and then have the NES game like running over there and let you be able to play it that way, or just sell Rob the Robot in stores again.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is another one. I was like, is it not on there? I thought Star Tropics 2 was on there, but B Papa says Star Tropics 2. Love the first one, but never got to the sequel since I was already waist deep in the SNES. Yeah, everyone was. Love to give it a go. Probably take advantage of the rewind feature to do it as quickly as possible. There's nothing wrong with taking advantage of that rewind feature, man. Especially just if you want to just play a game and see what it's about. Yeah, is what is Zoda's Revenge? Is that not on there already? Huh? I thought it was. I'm not seeing it though. I'm looking at the list. Okay, then yeah, what the hell? Get that on there. Turboman says perhaps a Mikey-like answer, but the NES version of Maniac Mansion, I do like that. Going by its reception, it was a surprisingly competent transition from PC to NES, and giving Ron Gilbert and Lucasfilm Games some love on NSO would be sweet. While the American version is considered the superior NES Maniac Mansion, it would be a fun bonus to also have the Japanese ROM where Bernard and his friends were redrawn to look cuter. Yeah, I like that answer a lot, actually.
That'd be cool. That'd be neat to see.
I'd love to see that. Mr. Bohr says it will never happen, but I want to see the original versions of Final Fantasy 2 and 3 with English localizations added to NSO. Yes, these games are playable in English through remakes, but it would be interesting to be able to play the original versions without needing to be able to read Japanese. Yeah, that would also be really good. Vegetable Juicer Incoming says, I'd love to see more licensed games from the likes of Disney, Looney Tunes, Marvel, and DC, etc. But it's like none of these will ever happen because rights owners don't even realize they own these games, and it'd be way too much red tape to get through, but it would be neat. Man, yeah, I wish something could change where like some of this stuff would just be easier to do. I don't know what though, as well as they're complicated and there's a lot of rights holders.
And all copyright law.
And it's just going to be a madhouse now. Velocity Prime 1 says, I would really like to see Life Force, one of the best shooters on the console and aggressively bizarre even for the standards of games at the time. Are there a whole lot of NES shmups on there right now? I don't even know. They probably have like Gradius 1 or
I'll tell you what,
like
Vice Project Doom was kind of like a shmup, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I'm discovering in this very moment.
So yeah, Gradius, Donkey Kong 3, that's a shmup basically. So you have a few things, nothing, not a ton of them.
Is Guardian Legend, what's the one that's the shooter that kind of turns into a Zelda game?
I think that's right.
Guardian
I know
Legend?
what you're talking about, but I never played it. But I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is Guardian Legend. I don't know if that's on there. If it's not, that's my new answer.
That's your new answer, and I'm gonna look real. I'm scanning Guardian Legend. I don't think I see Guardian Legend, and I'm gonna call it no Guardian Legend. All right, next one here is from Macho Maname. Says Euphoria the Saga is everything you could possibly desire from an NES game, like being able to play as Ghost with sweet shades. Man, I've never seen this game. He even included a screenshot here. I have never seen this game before in my life. It's from Sunsoft though. Like they've made some good stuff. Like maybe that's a good game. Jayton says, I think the games from the Disney Afternoon would be great additions to the NSO lineup. I agree with that. Courageous Big Basketball says localized versions of every Fire Emblem that aren't already on NSO. Yeah, I mean, they already made people pay separately for the first one, so if they do anymore, you're going to be paying for those separately. Zipsa says, I've always had a soft spot for the Bugs Bunny Birthday Blowout. I still have the original cartridge, but my NES no longer works, so I can't play anymore. There is a shockingly low amount of Bugs Bunny / Looney Tune games available. This needs to be fixed. I also like that game a lot. Actually, Zip says, I remember being shocked when that was one of the earlier games that Angry Video Game Nerd did. Because at that point, like all the games he did were the games I didn't play or knew were bad. That's the first time he picked one of the games from my childhood. I was like, no, I like that game. What? No, that game's fun. Yeah, I would be interested in playing that game again. Hosp says, one quick Googling later, and it's got to be Jaws. A, they would never put this licensed game on there. B, whole top-down world to explore. The switches to 2D sounds cool. C, it's probably a terrible game. Yeah, but I want all those bad licensed games on there, man. Like I want Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Back to the Future. And Who Framed Roger Rabbit's funny because it's like also oddly ambitious. Same thing with like Dick Tracy, like those weird games. A lot of like open world elements to them. Bench JC says, I wasn't really around during the NES days, so I went ahead and Googled worst NES game and think the Uncanny X-Men should be added to the service. Another good licensed game that just came in my head is the Tiny Toons game, which is basically like a Mario 3 clone. That's a good one.
Yep.
Beefhammer says, I'm shocked nobody has said Battletoads, since Microsoft would probably let it on there now, but that's not the one I personally want, so my answer is the Wayne's World game on NES. Battletoads is frustrating because it probably should be like the best NES game ever, but they really did kind of ruin it a bit with the difficulty. They made it so difficult, it's kind of miserable to play something. Like the animation and the graphics, like all this stuff is so good, probably the best the NES has. Like just the feeling of punching something is so good. It should have probably just been a more straightforward beat 'em up with way less gimmicks. And again, the difficulty toned down a bit. As it is, like all the other stuff is so good that we all sort of appreciate and
Right.
pretend to like Battletoads more than we even do because that stuff's great.
I mean, it was like a
But-
fun rental because you didn't really even like really like, well, that was pretty hard, but I probably just need more time with it, and then you like get another chance. Like, oh no, it's just really hard. But you have all those awesome memories of like the way it looks, and
Yeah.
I remember other kids like talking about like all the abilities like on the
Right.
playground and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a game that has its appeal, but it was too
It
hard.
leaves an impression on you. Nobody
Yep.
forgets about playing Battletoads, but it should have been better. Winnie says translations of the Mega 10 games. Yeah, that's right. There's those Famicom Mega 10 games. Before it was Shin Megami Tensei. It was just Megami Tensei. So maybe they'll translate those some points. I know there's fan translations out there. Napper says Cobra Triangle would be awesome. Oh, is Cobra Triangle is the rare game with the motorboat? Am I making that up? I think that's right. But I would actually like that.
Wait, do you mean the rare as in uncommon?
No, I mean Rare is in the developer.
So I don't remember Cobra. Well, no, maybe it was Cobra Triangle on the Rare collection, and I just never really played it all that much.
Yes, this is. I'm right. Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
think it was there. Yep, this is the one I'm thinking of.
Cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of NES Rare games that they should get on their.
Yeah.
What's the one of the snakes? But that one too, and we already said Battletoads. Tink says, give me Bucky O'Hare. Aftermarket prices are insanely expensive. Yeah, man, Bucky O'Hare. There's a character I haven't
Is
thought of in
RC
a long
Pro-Am
time.
not on? Yeah, RC Pro-Am's not on here either. So
No.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, get some of those rare games.
Turbo Sean says, I think pretty much all of the NES games worth revisiting are already on the service. So I'm going to give it to Pictionary simply so all the youngins can experience that absolute banging Tim Fallon soundtrack. Pictionary. We should get the NES Jeopardy game on there too. Like, what the hell? How
Yeah,
much are
why
the
not?
Jeopardy people really going to ask for?
Uh,
Glongus, that's a nice thing. Glongus says, I've been wanting RC Pro-Am since the service was announced. There you go, Jeff. Revit says, Karate Champ. But fuck, there's an Apple II version of that, but I don't think I had it. God, what's the karate game that had Jackie Chan in it? Because I liked that game.
Stuntmaster?
a lot. No, it wasn't called Stuntmaster. I can't remember. But that I liked that game a good bit. I'd like to see that on there, whatever it was called. MN Goldie says, Duck Hunt. I know it's impossible, but I want a good Lycon game, damn it, or at least the NES Zapper controller for my shelf. Yeah, just a replica of it. Razzle Jazzled says, I don't think it will happen, but I'd like to see the NES port of Metal Gear on NSO. Not even sure if it's good, but I'm in favor of making it as easy to legally play the early release of big IPs as possible. That's one that they should do that and Snake's Revenge. Snake's Revenge gets maligned a lot just because, Hideo didn't have anything to do with it, so he like uncanonized it. But it's not like a bad game or anything. And it's still probably interesting and worth playing. So yeah, get those Metal Gear games on there. What the heck?
it's Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu.
That's it. Yeah. It's how can I forget a name like that? I can't believe I
remember
called the
seeing this
Jackie
game.
Chan NES game.
It's actually really fun looking. I've always
It's
wanted
really
to go back and
fun.
try it out.
He has a giant head. I remember the
Yeah.
bosses were cool. There's some cool water effects. I liked that game a lot. Turbo Kodo says, I want a bootleg Famicom version of Final Fantasy VII and Pokemon and NSO. Well, I don't think those are. I don't think games made. Literally, fan games are showing up, sadly. God Rosla says, Battletoads, make it happen. Diogo RP says, I would like to see Silver Surfer drop in the NSO so that the rewind actually gives me a shot at beating the game. Or at least to see, once again, the depressing game over screen over and over. Not to just keep bringing up the angry video game nerd, but that was maybe my favorite of the those original episodes there. That was fun stuff. Turbo Gigi 64 says, Cyber Stadium series Base Wars may be long forgotten, but no one else
is that not on there? That should be on there.
No one else is doing future baseball fighting robot players in this day and age. Be an easy home run for NSO. Home run. I'd ask Nintendo to make it happen, but I guess they can't afford the price to license the Blade Runner font used in the game. Gerbear says the 10 gen version of Tetris would be neat. I guess it would be neat. I guess also. Turbo Obama says figure out a way to get Duck Hunt on. Man, a lot of Duck Hunt answers. Even if it's a House of the Dead style, it won't be the same, but such an iconic game for the system that I think it's at least needs to be on the service. Jake Bogdanov says the Adventure Island games and also Dig Dug 1. And then Nintendo Bro finishes off here by saying, give me Ivan Iron Man Stewart Super Off-Road. Having online functionality makes this game a no-brainer for the Nintendo Switch Online Collection. Jeff, those are the answers here. Next week, big surprise, we're going to do the same thing, but for the SNES on Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
I actually probably have more answers for that.
I won't say Super Mario RPG.
Yes, Jeff, I can't say Super Mario RPG, obviously. All right, Jeff, why don't you read these super chats?
Yeah, let's see. Let's start here with Afro Ahmed, who says with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in July, when does Wind Waker release for Switch? I think we said earlier. I think it's coming later this year, like late in like the last quarter of the year, but
October, November.
Yes,
maybe
yes,
September.
November. Yeah, maybe even December, but we'll see. Let's see. J Stud McLoving, Fucklade, Marry or Kill, Prime Remake, Twilight Wind Waker bundle, Star Fox Adventures remake with extra pixels dedicated to Crystal.
It's pretty simple, actually. Kill the Star Fox Adventure things because Crystal is an abomination. I'll rent the Wind Waker Twilight Princess thing. Like, I love those games, but I've played them multiple times now. And then Marry. It's fuck, kill, Marry. Yeah, I guess I'm fucking.
No, Fucklade. You're Fucklade. Yes.
Fucklade. Well, Fucklade sounds like a gross drink.
Yeah, well, hey man, you coined it.
Yeah, my bad. I apologize for that. Then we'll marry Metroid Prime.
I mean, that just means Prime Remake's coming out sooner than we expected. That's what that word means. So
yeah, that's right. That's why I said that. Yeah, that's what it's the opposite of a delay. Is a
yes. From Michael Mashed Potato. I love the chemistry between you two. Clap, clap. Well, I fucking hate it. God damn it. Fuck you.
That's the worst. This guy sucks.
I hate him so much. From Dark B Andy. It's Fire Emblem Awakening's 10th anniversary today. That game, the game that saved that franchise. Oh wow.
Man, it really did.
10 years.
I loved that game. That's maybe still my favorite 3DS game. And I was not like any kind of special Fire Emblem fan at the time.
No,
that one really grabbed me. Gosh, yeah.
What other games came out in 2012?
I know that was my game of the year that year, and yeah, that's a good question. Because I wonder what it was competing with. But yeah, I mean, that franchise actually would have probably just be dead now if that wasn't a big surprise hit. And now it's like an important cornerstone.
Yep. Let's see here. G-Man, sir, I have information that can lead to Mike's arrest. All right, G-Man, sir, get in my DMs. Send that my way, and we'll do something about this menace to society.
Is that all he said?
Yeah.
That sounds threatening. What could it be? Which of my many crimes have been exposed?
I don't know, but I'll make sure it gets to the authorities.
Okay.
From Toadpak Shakur, you don't have to defend your salad take, Mike. Jeff eats soup with a friggin' fork. What the fuck?
What the hell?
I told you, if the soup even begins to border on a stew, I'm like, I'll just use a fork.
Oh my god.
Let's use a fork.
You know, I'm looking at 2012, and it was kind of a weird year for games. It's like Dishonored, Far Cry 3, Borderlands 2.
Mark of the Ninja's good.
Mass Effect 3. There's a lot of good games here, but like Halo 4, a lot of Spec Ops: The Line, like a lot of games that I think a lot of people like, but you don't see a very obvious game of the year here. In fact, I feel very safe saying that Fire Emblem Awakening was the best game to come out this year.
FTL Faster Than Light came out that year, so that's pretty good too. Okay, let's see. That does it for the super chats, actually, Mike. So we didn't get anyone else. I think the thing with the NES is Turbo Sean's probably mostly right. There's a few games that I would like to get on from the NES still, but the games people must play, they're all on there already for the Nintendo Switch Online.
Largely, and then a lot of things like the Contras, the Castlevanias, and the Mega Mans. They're available elsewhere.
Exactly.
So, on that system.
Exactly.
All right then. So Jeff, I've been playing more 13 Sentinels, and I actually have been enjoying it quite a good bit after getting over some of the typical anime.
I Googled this. I tried. I'm like, just tell me, just spoil it. Why are the teens naked in the mech? There's a good reason. That's the only thing you ever see. You Google it. You're like, why are they naked?
I don't know the reason yet.
Reason. Oh, fuck. Someone tell me. Okay, you can't tell Mike, I guess. DM me or on Twitter or something.
So you can't find it?
I couldn't find it. I looked for like an hour. I couldn't find it. I'm like so frustrated. I was like, I just thought about putting it on Twitter, but I'm like, people be weird about spoilers, and people be like, why do you care about this? And I'm like, I don't want to have a conversation about it. I just want to know the reason. Okay, I'm sorry, Mike, to interrupt. To interrupt you.
When I find out, I'll let you know.
Yes,
I'm skeptical.
Immediately.
To be clear, I am also incredibly skeptical that there is a quote good reason.
Even if there is, it's just like I'm like, but they probably could have come up with a good reason for them to not be naked too, right?
I've been upset recently because like most of these games, for a while I was able to just like pretend in my mind that like all the girls are just 18 but then like the
Yeah.
game recently has been really hammering home that they are 16 and maybe 15, and also look at their ass, and it's like Jesus Christ. But it is a lot of fun. It's basically like it's like mostly visual novel. You would hate it, but with like a little bit of that adventure game puzzle solving kind of keyword stuff in there, with all these branching paths that you can discover to cover more of the story. And then you have the battles, which again is sort of that XCOM. What's that game you like? Into the Breach sort of style.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been enjoying that. And what's nice too is you can, like, at certain points it won't let you progress the story until you've done some of the battles, but you can largely go about any way you want. So if I want to just go through the story stuff, because the whole game is incredibly non-linear, and that's part of the fun of it. So I could just go through all the story stuff in like a 5-hour block, and then maybe one night be like, all right, now let's go through like the battles and start knocking off some of those. So that structure is really interesting and kind of neat, and something I almost feel like video games should do more of in a way. Maybe you need this really unique plot structure that, like I told you before, it's almost like Lost, where it's really non-linear, but even more so than that. So it makes a lot of sense here. But yeah, like, despite some of those misgivings, it is like something I actively look forward to play more of. It's a game that I probably play too much of in bed when I should be falling asleep and stuff like that.
So have you gotten any of like what's really going on and all that stuff?
Yeah, there are revelations here and there, but there still are more questions.
Sure.
But it's like you're piecing it together. The game's good about that because there's a lot of mysteries, but it's also sometimes the games do that thing where it's obvious what's happening and the game pretends like you haven't guessed it. This game's pretty good of knowing when we probably did guess what's going on, and so they're not acting like revelations are bigger than they are sometimes, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's all being done pretty well. Oh, apparently VJ Incoming sent you a DM, so just read it and don't say it, but I want to see if you think that this is a good enough of an explanation.
I think that if you had played hours and hours and hours of this game, and I know all the twists because I was trying to find this answer, so I was reading everything I could, and I'm like, you get to that point, I could see how you would be like, okay, that's a good story reason. I still think they could have been like, and they wear clothes in this particular situation. Like they wear suits, like
even if it was like a skin tight bodysuit,
right? Like skin tight bodysuit, yes.
Like what they do in most of these mech shows, right? Like Neon, Evangelini, Genesis, or whatever.
Yes,
it could be that.
Even in that scenario, like it's just is put on them. Okay, yeah, I won't say anymore. Fair enough.
Okay, but yeah, I'm excited to play more. I'm definitely seeing this one through to the end. It is as advertised in terms of its quality. It's not a Jeffy game at all.
No.
Yeah. People are like, you want to try that again? What are you talking about, guys? What? Evangelini Marinara.
Guys, Mike really is running on a few hours. He's had a few of those, like, where he's just said a word that is completely wrong, and I've let it go this entire episode, everybody. We gotta just let him go. Let's let this man go take a nap here pretty soon.
It doesn't matter how much. No, I have World of Warcraft interviews to do after this for a while. It doesn't matter how much sleep I got. I would never be able to say Neon, Evangeline.
Neon Genesis Evangelion? Okay, I fucked it up too.
The best picture on the internet is that written in the Garfield and Friends font with Garfield there.
Yes, it is.
That's what I think of every time I see that.
Turbo Shot said, did you know Mike's Italian? Neon Evangelion.
Neon Evangelion.
Spaghetti Evangelion.
Jeff, have you been playing anything on your Switch?
I just still Kirby, just slowly kind of getting through it, still enjoying it. It's a good game. I've kind of said this each week, but I want to get to the end and start seeing like some of those harder bosses. Although it's like every time you come across the boss, it's still fun, even if it's not going to beat you. It's still challenging enough that it's fun to solve the problem of the boss.
Yeah,
so I'm just enjoying it.
They are all good boss fights. Have you fought the sexy cat lady yet?
No. You did it? No, I don't think I have. Have I?
No.
I fought some. No, I don't think I have.
Something to look forward to.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to get to work right away. I mean, sexy cat lady.
Maybe the game will tell you she's 15.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, then there we go. I mean, it's from Japan, so I'm assuming it probably is. Yeah. I other than that, like I have been messing around with more retro stuff on the Steam Deck, but I found Flipnik for PS2, and I was like, okay, I've been playing that, so not as much Nintendo stuff this week. But I'll talk about Flipnik on GameSpeak Decides, because that's actually still a really good game.
That sounds good.
Yep.
All right, Jeff. I think that we are just about done here. Don't forget that next week we are doing NSO Super Nintendo games that you want to see on Nintendo Switch online. I think I have my answer already, Jeff. It's one that I think it's not like an unreasonable. It's not a licensed game. It's not even like a super like popular third party game that you won't expect to be on there. I wonder if anybody else is gonna pick it. I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, because there's just a lot more to choose from there.
Yeah, I think I talked last week. Like, I still have fun going through the Super Nintendo games on there. I had a lot of fun with Wild Arms not too long ago. I kind of actually want to play some more of that. Like usually when I play these games, especially these old games I never played before, I am using that rewind feature a little bit and save states just so I can see the whole game. I want to get good enough at Wild Arms that I can actually beat it legitimately, as they say. Jeff, you gonna start playing me out here?
Yeah, let's hit that button for you. Sorry, I just saw Netflix is gonna start going after password sharers. So,
finally,
yep.
Those criminals.
Yeah, that tells me that company doesn't have any ideas left. This is it. This is their next big idea.
1UP versus CPUs in Wild Arms, the PlayStation 1 game? Yeah, it is. He corrected himself. All right, thank you for listening, everybody.
What game did you say you were playing?
What?
On Super Nintendo, on Nintendo Switch Online. You said you went back and played something?
Yeah, it was Wild Arms. It's the game that I was just talking about right now while you're pretending to listen to me while you're reading that thing about Netflix.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
That's hilarious. You goober.
I thought you said you were going back to the Nintendo Switch Online, Super Nintendo, and then Wild Arms. I thought you were saying.
Thanks for listening, everybody. You can
Bye,
find
everybody.
more of us at Games Beats Decides on Friday. Follow me, Twitter Tokoto, Twitch Tokoto. Follow Jeff, I guess.
No! Bye, everybody.
Bye.